What's happening, people, 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 people? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be deciding our quite controversial Euro 2021 England squad. Now, we're going to be using Footbin to import the squad and put it all in, but I'm pretty confident that there's only a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 players, whereas I'm pretty sure it's been announced that you can take, well, Gareth Southgate can take 26 people now because of COVID and all that jazz. So we're going to be sticking with the 23. I'm going to obviously at the end say who the other 3 I might take will be, but I'm going to let the other 3 people be decided by you lot. So at the end of all this, if you disagree and you think I should have missed people out or whatever, which I'm pretty positive you will do, let me know in the comments and let me know what other 3 people you'd take. But anyway, without further ado, let's get started and jump straight into it. Just quickly interrupting people, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's a massive help. Okay, so we're going to be starting in net, obviously. Now, this isn't difficult, it's not a difficult decision. Picking the keepers isn't a difficult decision. We're obviously going to pick 3 keepers, and I'm pretty sure everybody will pick the same 3 keepers. But I think the hardest decision is who's starting, because there's not really, in my opinion, a real standout number 1. I think, let's just get into it. So, I'll start with, on the bench, who we've got to take. Pickford. Pickford's got to go because the experience is there. You know, he's been to a World Cup, he's done it at a high level. He's not quite got it anymore, but the goalkeeping aspect, he's obviously got the distribution. But I wouldn't be confident with him in net. So he's going to be a keeper we definitely take, but for me personally, he doesn't start. Next, Pope. Now, Pope, again, he's just one of those keepers. He's obviously one of the English keepers who, you know, he proves himself at Burnley. Not the highest level, but as a Burnley keeper, you're not surrounded by, you know, the most outstanding defence. He's obviously takes a lot of shots, so I'm not too sure about. I don't watch too much Burnley, to be honest, but from what I know, Pope's probably the second keeper in my opinion, maybe even the first. But obviously that leaves the last keeper and the number 1 for me, Dino, not Henderson. Now, yes, I am a United fan, but this is not a biased, I promise. Like I said, it's a difficult one. It's not set in stone. I don't even know if Henderson will start, but I think just because he's been starting for United at the moment, which I don't agree with, I think David still should be our number 1, definitely, because Henderson again doesn't fill me with confidence, and that's what I'm saying. This spot isn't solidified in my opinion. It could be any of them 3. I personally think out of Pope and Henderson, but we know Gareth loves Pickford, so. But anyway, we're not going to dwell too much on that. I'm putting Henderson in there. Anyway, moving on to the centre backs. We'll start on the right side. We're going to be putting in, this is pretty easy. Again, an easy choice. John Stone's been absolutely outstanding this season. Don't know where it's come from. I know he's always been good, but this season he's just pulled it out of the bag. Maybe it's because he's been, you know, next to like the likes of Diaz and Laporte, but this guy has just absolutely turned it around. I remember when all the hype build up and the build up behind him didn't, you know, really, they didn't fulfill. But like I said, this season he's probably turned it around and he's been absolutely essential for City, not just defensively but also goal scoring. And next to him is, of course, Harry Maguire. Now, me personally, I won't say I love Harry Maguire, but you know, I like him. I think he's a good defender. I think in the right partnership he can be a really good defender, but obviously United is not, he's not really got into that groove. He plays every game. He's only recently, I think it was one of the last matches we just played, he got injured, and that's the first time he's ever not played a full match, not played all season, so maybe it'll do him good for the England call-up for the Euros coming soon. I'm not actually even sure when the Euros are. Is it I'm sure it's near Christmas. It's weirdly timed, but it is what it is. But anyway, Maguire, I think that's another one that is pretty much everyone's partnership. The most experienced again, obviously. Maguire went to the World Cup, did mint in the World Cup, and then obviously United just ruined people. But again, a simple choice. Now next to him, we're going to be going with his teammate Luke Shaw. Now this guy, don't care what anyone says, best left back in the Premier League, one of the best left backs in the world at the moment. Settle down. I see you all typing. Luke Shaw is not the best left back in the world. Luke Shaw is not this. Luke Shaw is not that. Luke Shaw has been absolutely outstanding this season. Going forward, defensively, gets caught out time to time on the crosses, but you can't have everything. But that'll work well with Maguire because obviously they play together a lot. So I think that's a good partnership. Enough said. We'll go on to the backups later on. I think there's no contesting there. Obviously the other left back, who we'll talk about later, is up for contest. What's the word? It's in my opinion, it's not really a contest. I think Luke Shaw starts. End of. Right back. We're going to be going with Kieran. No, I'm joking. Walker. Although Southgate is obsessed with Trippier for some reason. Not for some reason. To be truthfully, I've not really watched him while he's played at Atletico, so I'm sure he's been doing well. But we're going to be going with Kyle Walker again. Another partnership. Walker's not got as much game time this season because João Cancelo's been taking the limelight, and João Cancelo's been killing it. But still, again, Walker for the experience. He's played at a very, very high level domestically and internationally, so that's the back five. We're going Dean Henderson in there, Shaw, Maguire, Stones and Walker. Pretty solid. I think that's pretty solid. I wouldn't argue with any of them, and I don't think many people can argue with that. You could argue, we'll get onto that later. Anyway, the CDM role, centre defensive midfielder, gonna have to be Declan Rice. No contest. No contest. This guy is a brilliant player and slightly underrated in my opinion. I think people understand that he's a good player. All the West Ham fans love him. If I ever speak, all the West Ham fans love him. And I don't see anyone else getting in that role. So Declan Rice definitely going to be playing, definitely going to be starting. Now beside him, we're going to be using a 3-man midfield. So we're obviously going to have our defensive midfielder and then our 2 more different roles, probably like a box to box, maybe a more attacking role. But I'm not too sure how Sqaud's going to set up. But we'll get the midfielders, and that we think we'll start. So this is a little bit more of a tricky one, in my opinion. You could either go with Henderson or Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham's been killing it in the Bundesliga. Not as high a level as the Prem, but again, Liverpool haven't done amazing this season, which I love to say. But it's a tough one. I really rate Bellingham. I think he's going to be absolutely class. Looks like a great midfielder, so I'd love him to start, but I think just for the experience and, you know, a bit of leadership, we've got to put Henderson in there. We can't disrespect him because this guy's, again, he's had a real career turnaround where he's always been decent, but only in the last few bad years has he, you know, fully shined. So we're going to go with Henderson, but again, could be Bellingham. So, in fact, so I don't forget, we'll put Bellingham there because we spoke about him. There he is. Class. Anyway, moving on to this role now. This is where we start getting into a bit more of a tricky territory, because the argument has always been all along, who's he going to take out of, you know, there's so many attacking options, and I think, personally, I can't lie, I didn't really take much notice of this kid, because, I don't know, I think the hype, every time I watched him, the hype wasn't there, but I think only recently, when I've actually watched him play, I've realised the potential that he's got. He's really doing well at the moment as well, and that is Mason Mount. Class player, going to be a good England player. Now, obviously, you could argue you play Grealish in that role or Foden in that role, which, just because Grealish has been injured towards the back end of the season, I can't argue with Grealish's talent. That guy's amazing, and when he gets going, he's going to be good. I'd love him to come to United, to be honest, but I think Mount's got to play. He's had a bit more playing time, you know, and it'd be good to. I'm not even sure has Mount played for England yet. I'm sure he's got a cap, hasn't he? I'm not too sure. Someone let me know. But anyway, Mason Mount got to start in that more attacking midfield role. I'm not too sure, but anyway, Mason Mount's got to start in that attacking midfield role, definitely. So, left wing / left mid, whatever you want to call it, who are we going to be putting there? It pains me to do it as a United fan. I'd love to put Rashford there, but this kid is next level. One of the best young talents I've seen, and I'm sure everyone will agree that there's no way this kid's not got to start. You know, he's not had as much playing time as I'd probably like for him to have in order to start, but you just can't argue with it. Every time he starts, it literally does make a difference as a team. Like, it's a difficult one because if City didn't have Foden in that team, I don't think that they'd struggle. I still think they'd be a dominating team. So I don't think Foden goes in there and totally makes a difference. Obviously, it's going to be difficult too when you're surrounded by De Bruyne and Gundogan, but it is unarguable that this guy's got to start 100%. And like I said, I'd love Rashford to start, but I've seen the dip in Rashford's form, not playing as well. So obviously, I think they're going to rotate. I don't think Foden will start every game, but maybe for the first game. I can't remember who was playing on the first game, but Foden's got to get some playing time, definitely. Moving on to the right side. Now, again, this is a little bit of a difficult one because Sterling's played on the right side before, and we've obviously got Sancho. They're both going to go, that's unarguable, but who starts? Personally, I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced about Jadon Sancho in an England shirt, to be honest. Every time I've seen him play, he's just, I don't know, he's just been something I've just not been fully attracted to. I don't know what it was. I think he's a class player. Obviously, he's definitely got to go. I'm not arguing that, but I think Southgate will pick Sterling, and I think I'm going to pick Sterling. For now, that could change though, couldn't it? But Sterling there for now. Again, the experience, and although Sterling's not shined as much as you'd probably like to, as probably City fans, won't admit, but I don't think he's done that. He's not done amazing, but again, he's still class, and no one can argue that Sterling's definitely still class. And then striker, it's so obvious, one of the best strikers in the world at the moment. Definitely Mason Green. No, I'm joking. Obvious, Harry Kane. Gotta go. 100%. Always there. First name on the team sheet, Harry Kane. Just recently announced that he's, pretty much leaving Tottenham. Now, where he goes is beyond me, because United have just signed Cavani on that extra year deal. I'd love Kane, but I just don't think it suits us anyway. It's not the right deal, I don't think, but again, I'm not going to argue if he comes, I love him. City don't really like spending that much money on a player, and they've not really, and I've not watched too much of City, but I don't think they play with an out-and-out striker that much anymore, do they? Aguero's not played too much. I'm sure I've seen him play like De Bruyne as like a centre forward, but I'm not too sure. He could, in my eyes, Chelsea's a good match, but is he going to win trophies at Chelsea? Because that's what he wants to do. Obviously, that's what he wants to do. He definitely wants to stay in England and win trophies. Now, Chelsea are obviously, they're on the come up. They've got Havertz, Mount. Werner's not doing the best. He's not finishing enough chances now. You put Harry Kane in that Chelsea team, and that is an entirely different team. But again, if he goes from Tottenham to Chelsea, after being such a loyal servant to Tottenham, I can't see that going down well, and I don't think he's that type of guy. So to me, it's a City or United, and he fits more City, but City don't like spending. Let me know what you think anyway, because it's a difficult one, but I guess we'll see in the summer. But yeah, that's the starting 11 we've got so far. Again, Bellingham could go in here. You could get Sancho coming in on this side. So much potential. We've got Grealish. These lot are definitely going. You could get Grealish coming in like there. Grealish could start there if you needed, but I think he'd be better off to left. You could, but yeah, for now, we'll stick with that. Now, moving on. Who are we going to bring with us? Now, obviously, I've mentioned him before. He's got to go. Marcus Rashford. Not as much. His form's not been as good recently, but still undeniable class talent. Got to go. Now, who else do we take? Let's go back to the defence. Let's start with the fullback, the left back. Another easy one. No one really else contesting. Chilwell, we mentioned it before. Chilwell's got to go, 100%. But Luke Shaw is definitely the start. Now, we'll go with centre back. Centre backs. We need 2 more centre backs now. I think this is reasonably easy. I think you've got to take Mings, just because he's played for England before. He's got a few caps under his belt. Decent defender, and just a good little backup if needed. And the second one, I think in this position you've got to take someone a little bit inexperienced, someone to for the future, someone to build up, a bit like Bellingham. We've got to think about the future as well. I think it's key for young players to be involved in this England squad, surrounded by so many talented and experienced players who can really build them up. So I think I'm going to go with a really top talent at the moment, who I think is going to be quite underlooked, but I think he's a class player from what I've seen, and one for the future, and that's Ben Godfrey. Obviously he's playing for Everton at the moment. Is he on loan from Norwich, I believe? Not too sure, but this kid, I got a feeling that Ben Godfrey's going to be class. So, 3 more to go. We're on the right back role. Now, massive debate to go, because I don't agree with a lot of people's decisions for this right back role. You've got Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Trippier. Is there any more I'm missing? You've obviously got Tariq Lamptey, but he's nowhere near it yet, but he's going to be. I think he's a class player as well from what I've seen of him at the beginning of the season. But the main ones is Trent, Wan-Bissaka, Reece James and Trippier. Now we know Gareth Southgate loves Trippier. So is he going to take him just to fit the system better? Is he going to fit Gareth better? And what he's got him, what he's got in mind for the team? I personally, it kills me to say it because I think Trent is unbelievably class, and I think he's received a lot of slack this season. But ever since not being mentioned in the England squad, his form for Liverpool has been outstanding. Like some of the assists he's made recently are crazy. There's no one you cannot deny that Trent is still one of the best right backs in the world, 100%. But I just don't think Gareth takes him. I don't know. I think if you don't take Trent, it's mad. Like, what has he got to do to be taken? Like, the guy's still incredible. Won the league, won the Champions League. It's a difficult one. But I also think an underlooked one, and I'm not just saying it again to be biased, but Wan-Bissaka, I think, class. I think obviously he's a bit shaky when he's on the ball, and obviously shaky going forward. But I think for a defensive role, a defensive-minded midfielder, a defensive-minded right back, he's the best defensive right back in the league in Europe at the moment, and it pains me to think that we'll lose him because I think he's on about going to his other native country, which is I think it's like Congo or something like that. That'd pain me if Aaron Wan-Bissaka went there, to be honest. It'd pain me. So, it's so tough. Trent, for me personally, it's Trent or Wan-Bissaka. And I think you've got to take Trent. There's no way you can't take Trent. That pains me. That pains me. If I could fit Wan-Bissaka in, I would. But again, there's no point taking 3 right backs unless you're going to use Walker as a replacement centre back. That way I would take Trent and Wan-Bissaka. I think Reece James is really good. Obviously people are going to disagree with that, but personally I still think Wan-Bissaka's better than Reece James. But again, it's his going forward attributes which he's improved on a little bit, and I think, to be honest, if this did happen, Sancho came to United and we had Wan-Bissaka, I think you could see Wan-Bissaka's forward, attacking play get a lot better, because I think he'll have an out-and-out winger with him. But yeah, I think for now you've got to go with Trent, a class player. Now we've got 2 more. Now who do we go with? So what are we missing here? Let's have a look. So we got the keepers. Let's have a look. Oh, we need a striker, don't we? Which, again, there's a few options. You've got Bamford, Greenwood, Danny Ings is a good one as well. But I think he'll take someone who, is similar to Harry Kane in the, in his play style. With the, he's a talisman and a bit physical. I don't think he's as, obviously he's not as good as Kane, but I think Kane's just got a lot more of creativity, and he's obviously just miles better. But I think he will take Calvert-Lewin, and I think I will take Calvert-Lewin too. Although I'd love Mason Greenwood to go, but I think Greenwood's still got a bit to go. I'm not too sure. He's a class finisher, but I think in the England in Southgate's play style, I think Calvert-Lewin suits that slightly better. Now, who's going to be my last one? I really don't know. Let's go through some honourable mentions who we could possibly put in here. So we've got. So I've missed one on her. So I think you've got to take. We've missed. Yeah, we've not got a replacement here. We've got a replacement for pretty much everyone bar Declan Rice. Now, this is, I think, again pretty obvious. It's going to be Phillips. Where is he? Phillips. There he is. I've maxed out there, but there's still 3 more spots to go because you can now take 26, I believe. Now, this is a difficult decision. Who else are you going to take? There's obviously, we've mentioned likes of Bamford, but you've got Lingard, who's been killing it recently. You've got Ward-Prowse, who's highly underrated. Greenwood, I've mentioned. Obviously, Maddison, who again, I don't think he gets in over Mount. I don't think he gets in over Foden. I don't think he gets in over, any of them sort of players, to be honest. But it's a possibility taken if you can take extra players. Maddison, Reece James. We obviously mentioned Trippier. You've got the likes of Eric Dyer. There's still a few more to go. I think Lingard is maybe one you've got to say, look, he's killing it at the moment. He's played for England before, got caps under his name, experienced, and he's not as young as people think. Obviously, that's a meme, but it's just, I think Lingard's a good option, but I'm not going to decide these last 3 players because you guys are. So that's where we're going to end the video, people. Again, all my opinion, I've sort of gone with what I would do / what I think Southgate will do. We've got Bellingham there. I can't wait to see Bellingham start, but as I said before, we'd probably start with Henderson just for the experience. But looking at that team, boys, it's coming home. It's coming home. I might just do a whole video of me saying it's coming home for an hour. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Again, leave your suggestions in the comments. Who you think who you would have replaced, or / the other 3 players that you would take. And I'll see you lot in the next video.